The reality is that there was a good idea here, and it was about trying to rethink and reform options for the future.
We were called jokers, we were called fools, that we didn't know jack shit about anything.
It was not real. There was bubble wealth, and there's also some state of bubble crisis.
We're artistic, we're creative, we're collaborators, and really cared about the future.
Some of us are artists, but we tried to be honest.
That the personal is political. I don't always live it, and I would like to live that.
Suddenly they're shining the light on culture, and that's going to solve the economy. That is really bad for culture.
This is all about people. This is about people, human beings meeting each other.
This melting pot of ideas and promise and capability, and it just gets very interesting, you know, and cool things can come out of that.
Every 2 minutes we have to have a cup of tea, like, you know, no wonder we never get anything done.
It takes an incredible amount of, like, stubbornness and pig-headedness and a neck of solid iron to get these things.
And courage is a word that's come up so many times as well, and so the courage of a nation is probably one of the most powerful and beautiful things when it's truly expressed.
No matter what it is, a transition, transformation, something that will intercede to change one thing from this into that, and then the possibilities of that are endless.
My life and the life of everybody in my country changed dramatically at that day when the whole system just collapsed. We experienced fear and insecurity in regards to our future.
There is so much both geographical and historical and emotional connection between the two islands, and we're only separated by one letter. I think it's a mutual benefit for both nations to connect better.
in a way, the Icelandic thing is almost a conceit, but a really nice one to get us to talk to each other, right? Because in a way, because you've said we're going to push Iceland here and the similarities between Iceland and it gives us the permission, and we need permission to chat in a way that I think some of us don't do.
After the crash of the financial system in October 2008, it gave us a kind of humanity back, though. So, and it gave us a kind of a new platform for us to ask ourselves what is capitalism, you know, and how should the future society look like?
In Iceland and in Ireland, kind of the same business model of allowing the idea that you go through a university where you learn that if you minimize costs, make the company more efficient, lay off, outsource, and you save the company $1 billion, you put half of it in your own pocket. And then the media that tells us that he is successful and clever because he did this, and the people that he marginalized and outsourced are just, you know, failure because they didn't read The Secret or something.
That these places are willing to talk to people. The denial phase is over. They know that they've got just a dead duck.
For me, this is not an isolated thing. This is a humankind that has sort of put wealth on materialism. Sort of really, humankind has been sort of diving in the illusion. And now I think and sort of seeing the similarities, which have been for me like sort of, is this really true? This is too much the same story. So for me that is sort of like, okay, it's not Icelandic or Irish.
And I think from the Icelandic perspective, there were punks and anarchists and creatives and artists that saw the challenge of moving to the centre. And I think this is one of the things that we have to overcome, that the centre doesn't value the edge, the periphery, the margins of society. And yet that leading edge is the most fertile ground, is the most creative ground. And so there needs to be better relationships or a rebalancing between the centre and the edge.
Given the kind of culture we are, and we were really talking about the same sort of repression that you're talking about there, given that culture, can we actually move forward and make social and cultural changes from how we are to somewhere different?
I suppose free was a word that we came up with. So it was debt-free, it was fear-free, and it was guilt-free in 2050. So we kind of look back and we thought, wow, guilt, what a strange concept.
It's the value system. So you get down to the essence of the proposition, and the essence of the proposition is that everybody is here because, out of love actually. Using a strange word for economists, because economists don't use a word like love, because it's a love of country, it's a love of change, it's a love of this bloody place that we find ourselves, that we have the fortune and the misfortune to be born in. And now we're in a crisis.
But don't give me something to hold my hand.
There's been a lot of anger, a lot of fear, and it's still unfolding. I don't think we've seen the worst yet. There are cuts now everywhere in the school system, in the cultural system. There are cuts everywhere in the healthcare system. So I think there's a lot more to come, and I think people really have to step back and take responsibility for how they actually themselves use their resources.
For one, it changed my reasons.
It's a much more beautiful, full, enriched experience to connect with people and get things done, rather than get things done. I will get this done, you know, and I'll use people to help me get this done, you know, as opposed to work with people to help us get this done.
From a personal point of view, how we cope with the challenges that are upon us, because I don't think we've even felt the impact or ramifications of what's about to happen. We have no idea really of the challenges and shocks that are going to hit us.
You can't run away from anything, and you can't even run away from pain. So somehow embracing it, and I think to be able to go through the changes and go through the whatever that comes along with change, you have to, and the pain is severe. So to be able to go through that and sort of accepting it, you have to embrace each other as well.
It seems like there's different kinds of mistakes, and the mistakes of the creative process that you seem to welcome, which is a brilliant kind of idea. I think that kind of welcoming of mistakes, that's kind of working with inviting kind of chance into it, and out of those kind of mistakes where you kind of give up control voluntarily, something good definitely could come out.
I was reminded of my intention to have the Festival of Mistakes in Reykjavik, the international festival of mistakes, and get really educated and clever people from all over the world
Fucked up.
about their best fuck-ups. But maybe it was a mistake to...
Like the big story that Young's told is about being actually about how when something is like the worst mistake that can happen, or the worst thing, when the worst thing that happens, what can come out of it, and the idea of eliminating fear, like actually when something really, really shit happens, how it's happened, and then things can never be that bad again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Dante's Inferno. It's the whole idea of that poem, that we have to go down into hell to come out the other side. And there's an angel there waiting anyway, if you're willing to go, if you're brave enough. But it's actually the willingness to go there, to really accept how far down do we have to go. And that's the question, like, how far do we have to go to really kind of go, right, hang on a second. What's truly important? What is our value system? What is the moral compass anyway? How do we go so far wrong? And let's really look at that. And things will just start to evolve out of that, I believe.
It's scary because as well, it demands that you reflect. And reflection in a real sense is very challenging, because it means you've got to hold it, sit in it, in the fear, in the grief, in the anger, in the unknown, and out of that you have to allow something to emerge. So from that level, it also affords other people to be able to look at that and learn from that.
Being in a dangerous position is not bad. For artists, being in a dangerous position is good. Being in a safe position is bad, you know. So maybe for people now, being in a dangerous position for Irish people is good, not bad, you know, and that they can embrace that, you know, and jump for it, go for it, cross the, you know, the void.
With art and with poetry, it's always, or the intention behind it is always about originality. And so with people, it's a constant shift and change. So therefore it presents new structures that people weren't even aware of. Incredible possibility. Incredible possibility. And we have it all. Like it's in our fingertips. And I think that whole thing about dreaming with your eyes open and dreaming with your hands, you know, doing the two. So if the Imagineering is happening, put it into use.
Ljósa þína leið, megi ljósið skína sér hver dag, og bænar bið ég þér, að ávallt geymi þig Guð í
Are you ready? Three.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much easier to